Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I shall be bringing you this look, this fun little kind of purple cut crease with a little blue accent, something a little fun, a little bit different. Basically, your girl's going out tonight and I wanted to look cute. So if you guys watched a video that I did a couple of videos back, it was another cut crease video, I mentioned that I started a new channel. It's called Ravers Review, where basically me and my cousins would go to different clubs and events across London and we leave reviews for them, give them a rating to basically tell you whether it's worth your while going or not. So your girl's out tonight, she's about to hit the town. This is the look that I wanted to wear, and I thought it might just be nice to film a tutorial for you guys just in case you guys like it. So as well as showing you how I'm going to do this eye look, I'm also going to give you some tips and tricks and like what I do to keep my makeup on all day and all night and make sure it doesn't sweat out in the club, because your girl likes to dance. And I'm not going to let a little bit of makeup get in my way of doing that. So if I'm about to dance the night away, the face is going to have to come with, and she's just going to have to, you know, make it work. So yeah, that is what we're going to be getting up to in today's video. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also in the description box, I will leave the link and all the info to the other channel and my Instagram and stuff for that other channel. So you can go over there and subscribe. But you know, do that after you watch this video. Watch this video first and then go over there and binge watch those videos and subscribe too. That would be great. Okay, let's begin. So the first product I'm starting off with here is the Benefit Porefessional Matte Rescue Gel. This is not to be confused with the Benefit Porefessional Primer. This is not primer. This comes before that. It's like skincare essentially, and what it is, you put it on after your sort of whole skincare routine. I'm not going to go through what my whole routine is, but if you want a sort of vague idea, I'll leave a video that I've done like linked up here somewhere. So you put this on like after your skincare and before your primer, and basically what it does is just adds that extra step that is just going to keep your skin matte all day long. I don't know what they put in here, but it's magical and it works, and I don't ask me questions, it just works. So I've literally just applied that all over my face the same way that I would a moisturizer. I'm gonna go into my eyes now, and the main reason that I'm doing that is not just because I like to do eyes first just in case I get any fallout or anything like that, but also it is good to sort of let your skincare sit on your skin for a little while and let it sort of sink in before you go in and put on your makeup, because if you just put all of your skincare and then go right in with makeup, they sort of mix and meld together, and then that's when you sort of start to get oily and greasy throughout the day. Whereas if you just give your skincare a chance to really absorb into your skin and then put the makeup on top, I find that it really increases longevity. I've primed my eyelids with the Makeup Revolution concealer, and I have set it in place with some translucent powder, again for longevity purposes. And now I'm going to be going into the Revolution Pro Regeneration Trends Mischief Mattes palette. I always go on about how this is such a dumb, stupidly long name for a palette, but it is a really good palette. I'm just saying this because I use it a lot and I don't want you guys to get bored. I'm just saying it's a good palette, it's a good price, loads of different colours, so yeah, there's that. So I'm taking the shade, what shade was it? Shrine here, this sort of like lilac shade, and that's just going to be my like first crease colour. So I'm going to start by like patting it on the outer corner and then bringing it into the crease. As I've said before, when you do set your concealer or like eyeshadow base with powder, it does take a bit longer to build up colour as it would if you had left the base tacky, but it can be a bit easier to blend that way if you are a beginner, and also I say for longevity purposes as well. Obviously if you set your concealer with powder, it's less likely to start creasing on you. Next shade I'm going in with is this dark purple down here on this kind of like round blending brush, and as you can see I'm kind of keeping the shape of the eyeshadow quite rounded. I'm not really like winging it out very far, so again I'm going to start on the outer corner, sort of going tapping in like circular motions and then bringing the brush into the crease to sort of blend it out and all together, and then going back in with my first brush with no additional product on it just to sort of start the blending process. To blend out the edges even further, I'm taking this really light lilac loose pigment from Star Crush Minerals called Space Whirlpool on this really like kind of tapered but really quite fluffy brush, and I'm really tapping off the excess because this is loose so it does fly everywhere, and I'm just taking the sort of top edge of the brush and using that to very, very lightly. I'm holding the brush at the end because I'm applying so little pressure just to really blend out the edges. Next, I'm going in with another pigment from Star Crush Minerals. This is called Audacious Plum. I feel like I've used this quite a bit on my channel before. It is one of my favorite purples, but I will say you have to be very careful of this shade because it is pretty much pure pigment. You don't want to use a lot because it has a tendency for the pigment to go down and it's like, whoa, color, but it can be very hard to blend. So I'm taking it on this very sort of dense, small kind of pencil brush, and I'm dipping in and picking up the product, and then I'm gonna actually tap off most of it just to make my life easier, because I've been there before. It just goes everywhere and then it doesn't blend and then you look like you've been punched in the eye. So as I've been doing all the way, like, I literally tapped that like 3 times. I'm starting on the outer corner, depositing most of the color there, and then I'm gonna start just tapping it into the crease to get the color down. Now, the mistake that I've made in the past is then trying to use the same brush that I've laid the pigment down with to then blend it out, because there's still a lot of pigment left on the brush, and that's when it goes up too far. Once you've laid the pigment down, you want to go back in with your previous brushes to blend it all out. So I just quickly went ahead and cut out my crease off camera. I didn't want to do it on camera because I didn't want us to be here for 10,000 years. If you do want to see more in depth how I do this, I do have videos for that, so I'll link those up somewhere here. So I just cut it out with concealer and I set it with this sort of skin tone shade here called Attached, and then I'm going to go back in with the shade here, Haunted, on the same brush that I used in my crease, like just a tiny tap, just a little bit. And I'm just going to sort of go wiggle back and forth across that sort of edge where the harsh concealer and the outer corner colour start to meet, just to sort of blend it together so it doesn't look so harsh. And then right on the kind of centre of the lid, over where I've just blended those two, I'm going to take this Inglot AMC Pure Pigment in the shade 120. It's this like really nice kind of coppery brown colour, but it has a stunning like purple glittery reflect. I don't know if you can see it on the brush. I'm just going to tap that onto that area, and the reason I love this is because of the way it catches the light, because it has that kind of brown base. In some lights it just sort of blends right in and you can't really see it, and then you turn your head and then you get that purple, and oh, it's just beautiful. So I've lined all the way around my top and bottom waterline just with a plain black liner, and now I'm going to attempt to draw in my double wing. I'm using the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner. This is my favorite one of life. So if I can't do it with this liner, then my life's just a failure. Well, that was a struggle, but that's the main portion of the eyes basically done, so we can move on to the face now. I'm starting with the Makeup Revolution Step 1 Smoothing Primer, and I'm putting this in the sort of more porous and oilier areas of my face. So that's like my T-zone and cheeks, essentially. And then I add a mix of the NYX Angel Veil Primer and the Inglot Duraline, and I blend that into the outer parts of my face as well. Then I'm adding a tiny bit of the LA Girl ProConceal in the red corrector, just where I have sort of like dark circles under my eyes and then like dark marks on my face from where I've had spots that I shouldn't have picked but I can't resist, and now I'm eternally scarred and I hate myself for it. I'm just going to correct those with a little bit of red. I find that colour correcting sort of means that then when I go in with my like face shade, I don't have to use as much because I don't need as much coverage, because I've already basically balanced out the darkness. To maximize coverage of concealer even more, you sort of, after you apply it, you don't want to blend it out straight away. You want to sort of just let it sit and kind of dry down into the skin a little bit more. So while that's doing that, I'm going to add a little bit of cream highlighter, so I think I'm going to go in with this. Is the Makeup Revolution Ultra Strobe Balm palette. I don't know which colour I want to use. I want to go for like a purpley tone, but not outrageously purple. I think I want to take a little bit of this and a little bit of this. I'm just applying it with my finger because it's a balm. I feel like it warms up with your body heat and just sort of blends in nicer. So I'm just patting that on. Ooh, that is a lot. But it's okay. Patting that onto my cheekbones. So it's going to give that nice kind of purpley hue when it goes underneath the foundation, but not be too stark. So I'm blending out the concealer, and I'm just using one of these like little artiste type brushes, and basically what I'm doing is just tapping it in, but I'm keeping the area quite localized because I don't want the color to like spread all over and then I just have an orange face. And then I'm going to very lightly set that concealer and the balm highlighter in place with some of the NYX HD powder. The reason I like to use HD powder is because HD powder is amazing for smoothing the skin. It just makes it look smooth and poreless and perfect in photos. The reason I use it underneath though is because it flashes back like hell. I'm trying to look good in photos. I am not trying to look casket ready, okay? So if I feel like if I put it underneath, then I sort of cover it with like my foundation, well, not foundation because I don't wear foundation, but I cover it with, you know, my concealer and stuff. I still get that smooth effect without looking like a ghost. So for those of you who may not know, I stopped wearing foundation pretty much about a year or so ago. I'm not going to go into my reasons why, etc, etc. I do have a video about it. If you want to watch it, I'll leave it linked up here. But basically, I no longer wear foundation. I just felt like it wasn't for me. It wasn't really doing my skin any favors. But you know, your girl does still like a little bit of coverage. So essentially what I do is just wear like a ton of different concealers. For under eye, I'm taking the Makeup Revolution concealer in the shade C13. This is the same one that I used to prime my eyelids with. Now, I don't take loads and loads and loads because, as I said, I made the decision to stop wearing foundation. So if I just plastered my whole face in concealer, it would basically be the same thing and be slightly redundant. So even this, what I have on here, for me, is still quite a lot. But because I'm going for that, like, full glam and I really want long wear, I'm going for a little bit more today. Now, for my face, I pretty much just apply concealer on my cheek area here because that's where I feel like I need the most coverage. I don't apply it to my T-zone. One, because I don't feel like I need as much coverage there, and two, because that's where I get the most oily. So if I just don't have as much product there, the less oily I'm gonna get. So for this face area, my skin is very awkward. I have to, as I say, mix loads of shades. So next I'm gonna take the NYX HD concealer in the shade CW08. It is a bit darker than my skin, but it's got a quite nice like warm undertone. So I take a stripe of that, and then I mix to add the Makeup Revolution concealer in the shade C14. This is closer to my skin tone, but the undertone is a little bit cool toned for me. So if I used it all over, it would just make me look a bit grey and washed out. And I am so running out of this one. I need to get another one. And then on top of that, just to lighten it up a little bit, because this is obviously quite dark, I'm then taking the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 50, but I'm not taking loads and loads and loads because I don't want it to be too light and then just look ridiculous. So I take like a stripe of that as well. This looks ridiculous, I know, but in the end, somehow, I don't know how, it works. So I'm blending it all together sort of in circular but also patting motions to mix all the colours, and I'm concentrating most of the product around this lower half of my cheek area because that's where I get the most little spots and stuff. That's where I've colour corrected the most. And also I don't want to bring it up too high because I don't want to completely cover up all of this concealer. But as you can see, that literally blended together so nicely in no time at all. Once it's pretty much all blended together, I do then sort of take the sponge and pat over that highlighted area slightly, just to give it that more of the like under the skin appearance, so it's not like coverage, 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 and then like a massive purple stripe. It looks like it's sort of glowing from within. Not that anyone glows purple, but you know. I think I spent too much time chatting and let this Makeup Revolution one dry down a little bit too fast, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more of the Maybelline Fit Me, because it's quite a like wet formula, just to make that a little bit easier to blend, because that Makeup Revolution one is very matte, so it dries very fast. So yeah, I'm just going to blend this all out. Again, I'm not going to take this one out too far because I don't want to completely cover up the highlight, but I want to make sure that I'm covering up all those bits of the red concealer, so then my face doesn't just look like it has strange orange patches. And then even though I've only applied concealer to like these areas of my face, I do then like to pretty much bake my entire face with powder, because as I say, I do have very oily skin, so applying a lot of powder everywhere, like, it helps to keep the oils at bay, just makes the skin look a bit smoother. So for that, I really like to start with the, I'm going to say start with because I use a lot of powder. I start with the RCMA No Color Powder. So I start with the under eyes, making that ridiculous space to get rid of any creasing. Like, really lightly press the powder in so it makes the under eyes nice and smooth. I literally, this is the same powder, I just put it into this spot because it's easier to get to. I literally go to town with the powder. And then once I look like a crack whore, I then let this powder will sit in my skin while I just finish up the rest of my eyes and my brows. Now to dust away this bake, I'm taking the Skin Brightening Translucent Powder from Antipodes. I'm taking it on a brush as opposed to a sponge because this powder does have a slight shimmer to it, hence the skin brightening effect. And I've tried it with a sponge and that was a disaster. If you would like to see that, it is in that same video that I linked before with all my skincare stuff. So yeah, don't use it with a sponge, but with a brush as like a nice like light dusting over your face, it does give your face like a really nice kind of slight shimmer and glow. So I really like it for that, but I wouldn't set my whole face with it. I'm feeling in a really extra mood today. I don't really know why, so I decided to add just these two little glitter stars underneath each wing. They literally just come like this. They're from Superdrug, super cheap. If you want to know how I applied them, I do have a video showing that, so I'll leave a link for that. And final touch of the eyes before we add the lashes, inner corner highlight. I didn't want to go purple because I thought that's just too much purple and it's a little bit boring. So I'm going for a blue. I'm using another AMC Pure Pigment from Inglot. This is in the shade 114. Stunning. So I'm just taking it on the same brush that I used to apply the other one. I'm going to pat it right onto the inner corner. You can use these pigments wet and make them kind of liquidy. But for this, I want it to be kind of like dispersed. Like you see how it sort of comes down under here and up here, looks a little bit messy, sort of a bit like very fine glitter. That's the kind of effect I'm going for. So I'm just patting it on kind of messily and letting it kind of do its own thing. You really thought I was done with the amount of powder I used. I'm not done. So obviously the powders that I've all used before, like the HD powder, the RCMA one, the Antipodes one, have all been translucent, but you can see that they were very white in the jar, and I'm obviously not white. So to bring a bit of colour back into my face, I'm taking the Milani Press powder. This is the shade Honey Amber. It's a little bit light for me, but we can make it work. I'm just sort of tapping it lightly over my face. Not only is even more powder going to sort of help with oil control, but as I say, because this is a coloured powder, it brings a bit of that colour back into my face, where the amount of translucent powder that I used can sort of wash me out. And then while my lash glue is drying, I'm just going to quickly contour and highlight. So this is it for the finished look. I hope you guys like. I hope you guys also will hop over to my other channel on the Ravers review video to see how she held up throughout the night. I'm telling you, these tips will help your face stay on all night. She ain't gonna move. She ain't gonna clock out early. But it's still the middle of the day, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do with myself until then. But at least I'll look cute doing it. Anyway, yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you liked this look. If you did, please make sure to leave a comment down below, like this video, subscribe to my channel, make sure you turn on those notifications so you do not miss any future uploads. And I will see you next time. Hopefully I may see you over on that video as well. Make sure you subscribe to that channel and like that video, and leave comments in the comment section of this video or that one telling me any other places that you would like me to review, or any more tips that you have for making your makeup stay on all night long and looking bomb as shit. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.